Imagine what it would feel like to be able to say you were the first person to sail around the world, or step on the moon, or get bombed on Margaritas. The people behind those first two achievements are legendary. But most people don't know about the hero who invented the most popular mixed drink in America. So, today we're going to take a look at the first person to ever get drunk off a margarita. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. After that, please leave a comment and let us know what other mixed drinks you would like to hear about. Okay, next stop, Margaritaville. But hopefully not the Jurassic World location. We realize not everyone is a bartender, so we're going to start with the very basics here. A margarita is a type of mixed drink known as sour cocktail. That's a category which also includes well-known classics like the daiquiri, gimlet, and whiskey sour, so it's in good company. Although some recipes call for a light syrup, a margarita is generally composed of just three fundamental ingredients: tequila, triple sec, and lime juice. It can be served shaken with ice, which is known as on the rocks, shaken without ice, or straight up, as Paula Abdul might say, or blended with ice, which gets you what they call a frozen margarita. Regardless of which you pick, it's then typically served in a glass with salt on its rim, to counteract the possible bitter taste of the orange liqueur and/or the tequila. The fourth ingredient is regret, but that's optional. The glass is usually a variation of a traditional champagne glass known as a margarita glass, which makes it easy to remember. Margaritas are also frequently served in old-fashioned glasses, but to paraphrase the Fast and Furious franchise, it doesn't matter how good the glass looks. It's all about how the drink tastes. But to further paraphrase Fast and Furious, a cool glass doesn't hurt either. The taste of a good margarita should be a perfect blend of sweet, salty, sour, and bitter. That's a lot to ask of any one drink. And of course, all margaritas are not made equal. Some are made by the manager's cousin. But balancing such a wide variety of flavors might actually be the ace up the margarita's sleeve, if cocktails wore shirts and played cards. Believe it or not, the margarita is one of the world's most popular drinks. It's also the single most popular mixed drink in America, a title it has held for decades. In fact, Americans drank 185,000 margaritas per hour back in 2008, and tequila sales have shot through the roof ever since.
I like tequila.
In 2021, the casual dining chain Chili's revealed that they sell over 20 million margaritas a year, which makes a lot of sense if you've ever lived near a Chili's. Since there aren't enough Jimmy Buffett fans in the world to account for all those orders, we assume it must be about the drink's broad flavor profile. Whatever the case, according to the people at Forbes, the increasing popularity of tequila and mezcal indicates that the margarita probably won't be losing its popularity anytime soon. The margarita is a wildly popular cocktail that has a fascinating origin story. In fact, it has several fascinating origin stories, each attributing the drink to a completely different person. No one knows who was really behind it, so we're just going to round up the usual suspects and let you figure it out. Suspect number one is Carlos Danny Herrera. In 1938, Herrera was the owner of Rancho La Gloria, a Mexican restaurant located somewhere between Tijuana and Rosarito in Baja California. Legend has it, Herrera mixed up the first margarita for Marjorie King, a former dancer for the Ziegfeld Follies, which made her a big deal back then. King was allegedly allergic to most forms of liquor, but could drink tequila, even though she didn't quite love the taste. To accommodate her, Herrera improvised a cocktail using ingredients similar to those used in a common tequila shot: lime juice and salt. And presto, the first margarita was born. Herrera himself bitterly defended this version of events until his dying day, but not everyone buys it. For one, medical experts have pointed to the unlikelihood that a person would be allergic to almost all forms of liquor except tequila. The people at Jose Cuervo don't buy it either, although to be fair, they do have some skin in the game. They point the finger at suspect number two, an anonymous bartender. They don't seem to know his name, but they do seem to know he created and christened the cocktail in honor of Mexican showgirl Rita de la Rosa. It just goes to prove the old saying, if you invent something famous, always name it after yourself. Interestingly, the connection to the name Rita features into another proposed origin story. In this one, movie actress Rita Hayworth, most famous for appearing in a poster in The Shawshank Redemption, tried the pre-existing cocktail at a bar in Mexico in 1940. She liked it, and the people there liked her, so they immediately renamed the drink in her honor, her real name being Margarita Cancino. That's a pretty fine story. But still others claim that the drink was first invented by Dallas socialite Margarita Sames, who named it for herself. But if a direct connection to a woman named Margarita strikes you as a little too on the nose, you might be onto something. That's because in Spanish, the word margarita means daisy. And as many experts, including cocktail historian David Wondrich, have noted, daisy is a family of cocktails made with citrus juice, syrup, and a base liqueur. Brandy daisies first became popular in the 19th century, and a margarita is basically just a tequila daisy. Along these lines, some have raised the possibility the drink was first mixed by an Irish bartender named Madden, who was working in Mexico in 1936. Calling it a tequila daisy, Madden sold it to an American newspaper editor, explaining he had invented it serendipitously when he went to make a daisy and accidentally grabbed the tequila instead of the brandy. Hey, it makes a good story. In any event, a recipe for an unnamed similar cocktail appeared in the 1930 publication My New Cocktail Book by G.F. Steele, and a recipe for a tequila daisy appeared in the Syracuse Herald in 1936. Interestingly, the first published recipe for the drink under the name Margarita didn't come along until 1953. Despite all the colorful suspects and entertaining origin stories, and there are dozens of others, given the fact that the margarita is just a variation of a pre-existing formula, makes it likely that the drink didn't have one single inventor. Okay, so we can't tell you for certain who invented the margarita, but we can tell you who invented the frozen margarita machine, universally acknowledged as the single most important technological innovation of the 20th century, although we may need to get some sources for that. The story of the frozen margarita machine begins in Texas in 1971. Mariano Martinez was running the eponymous restaurant Mariano's on Greenville Avenue in Dallas, and business was going mostly pretty well. The exception was the margaritas, which customers complained were inconsistent, to put it nicely. Now, as we previously explained, Americans drink a lot of margaritas. So if you run a restaurant, that's definitely not where you want to be coming up short. Martinez knew he had to do something. It's not like he was just going to find a revolutionary new way to serve margaritas, except that's exactly what he did. As is often the case, Martinez wasn't searching for inspiration when it struck. He was searching for coffee. It had been a long, frustrating night at the restaurant, so he stopped at 7-Eleven on the way home to get his caffeine fix. While he was there, he noticed some kids filling up their cups at the Slurpee machine, and he suddenly wondered if the same type of machine could be used to freeze and dispense margaritas. It was just crazy enough to work. He tried to buy the Slurpee machine from 7-Eleven, but they wouldn't sell him one, telling him that alcohol wouldn't freeze anyway. So he ran out and bought himself a soft-serve ice cream machine, and after some adjustments, he hit the jackpot. On May 11th, 1971, Mariano Martinez made the world's first frozen margarita, pale green sherbet, in case you were wondering. It became wildly popular, changed the tequila business forever, and is now ubiquitous in bars and restaurants around the world. It was so historically important, his prototype even wound up in the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C. Hey, they like to party on the mall. These days, America is a nation divided over whether a margarita is better frozen or on the rocks. According to a 2022 survey, the nation is pretty much split right down the middle on the subject, with 52% saying rocks and 48% opting for frozen. The same survey showed the two most popular tequilas were Patron and Jose Cuervo, with no other brand exceeding 13% of the market. The survey also revealed that about 30% of participants preferred sea salt on their glass, compared to about 25% who liked sugar, 20% who liked table salt, 15% who wanted chili lime salt, and everyone else just didn't use anything. As far as overall preparation, the survey revealed that the residents of Delaware, Indiana, Maryland, Mississippi, Missouri, and South Carolina generally prefer frozen margaritas made with Jose Cuervo and sea salt. Folks from Colorado, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Virginia, however, prefer Patron and sea salt on the rocks. But the number one most popular combination is Jose Cuervo on the rocks with sea salt. Of course, there are also amazing specialty margaritas to be found everywhere. The Secreto Lounge in Santa Fe, for example, makes a smoked sage margarita made from Ozonia reposado mixed with lime juice and orange liqueur. And Juan's Flaming Fajitas and Cantina in Las Vegas makes what they call Manuel's Margarita, with premium tequila, citrus juice, agave, and a touch of Grand Marnier. Big Star Chicago makes a spicy margarita with orange curacao and lime. And Mariano's Hacienda in Dallas makes their tickled pink margarita with Herradura Reposado, lime juice, and Chambord. But that's just the tip of the tequila-enhanced iceberg. Pepe Osaka's Fish Taco Tequila Bar and Grill in Colorado makes a wicked-looking Margarita Azul with blue curacao. Oyamel Cocina Mexicana makes their famous Mezcal Margarita right in the nation's capital. And Cura's Grill in Austin does an avocado margarita that the internet loves to try and imitate. All this is to say that we're living through an honest-to-goodness margarita renaissance. A margarita-sance, if you will. And it's 5 o'clock somewhere, so we're pretty sure you will. So what do you think? And are you a fan of the margarita? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, check out some of these other videos from our weird history.